Woo! Jesus Christ.
I hit my ankle too.
Oh,
Oh, I knew you shouldn't have brought that Gatorade. What flavor is that? Frost? Frost Blue?
Frost.
Classic.
Frost.
That's like the Frost ones. I think were the first ones they came out with. What? You ready?
Did you tweet it?
Yeah, I tweeted.
Okay.
Dude, I'm talking about Gatorade Frost here.
Hey, dads.
It was important. Huh?
He adds says, hey, dads.
Oh, hello.
Hey, kiddo.
Hold on, let me get my Gatorade Frost point up.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the first like Gatorade side thing, like the
Their
their
side-o?
their spin-off?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about?
It was
I
the
have
first
no
side
idea.
Well, you know how
chick.
they have their you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Not super into the history of Gatorade, personally.
Was
Oh,
it
I
not
love
just-
Gatorade back in the day.
Was the Fierce the original line that they just added Fierce to? Or was that
Is it? No, I think that's an add-on.
Yeah.
I think.
So, yeah.
Have you ever had the back in the day the powder, the Gatorade powder?
Yeah.
I have, yeah.
Ugh.
Nope.
I still get it. I
You remember
still
Tang?
do it. Yes, I do remember Tang.
Oh,
Astronauts.
You know, I learned a good fact once. If you ever need a really cheap meal and you're like stuck on the road homeless, get some white bread and some Tang.
wait, stuck on the road homeless.
It's
Yeah,
like-
That just happened?
That's a life decision, not a.
yeah, it just happens.
Just happens.
It just happens. You never know.
could.
Never know. You dip the white bread, you roll it up real tight in your hands, you dip it in the Tang, and you eat it.
That sounds fucking awful.
There you go.
You ready to start?
Thanks for listening, guys. Follow us on
That's it. Oh, perfect timing.
You're listening to Thunderheads, a podcast for Thunder fans by Thunder fans.
Welcome to Thunderheads. It is midweek. I'm back. I've been gone for a couple days. It feels really good to be back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube Live, we're psyched to have you. I am Brandon Soul, joined by the Thunder Tie himself. It is Mr. Justin Wright.
So remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet.
Stephen Hawking.
Gotta be.
It is.
Yeah.
It was Stephen Hawking in 2015 in Sydney. R.I.P. Happy Pi Day.
Agreed.
I feel like his death isn't getting enough coverage here.
It's not. It's
kinda weird.
He's okay. So he's the greatest physicist since Albert Einstein. And
That is
actually,
kinda crazy.
Pi Day is Albert Einstein's birthday. So Albert
That is
Einstein's
pretty
birthday
crazy.
and Stephen Hawking's death day are the same day now.
Did you ever see the movie? Was it called Hawking? Or what was it called? The
I-
Stephen Hawking
yeah,
movie?
I didn't see that.
see
Are you
it.
talking about the recent one?
Boring. No offense to Stephen Hawking. He just died. All respect.
Fucking terrible.
Boring,
No,
but good. Like one of those good boring movies. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like airplane
slow,
movie.
but good.
Good on an airplane. Did you have something to add there, Doctor?
No, there was a movie that was about his life.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh no, it was called something else. It was.
I think
Yeah,
it
it
did
was
have a
called
different
something
name.
else.
Yeah,
This
I don't
doesn't
remember
matter.
what it was.
That is the Doctor, Rob Larson.
I'm gonna start you off with a hot take
All right.
for yes.
All right. Yes.
Everything's cooler whenever you like make words go together.
Yeah,
or
yes is pretty cool. I'm gonna start
Fias,
using that.
yeah. I think the kids are. Anyways, I'm gonna say this: Applebee's.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
You guys want to hear this
No,
or
go
not?
ahead.
Do you
Go
want to
ahead,
hear this
go
hot take?
Get it out there.
Applebee's steak, best steak for the money.
Oh.
No.
So what's the price? What's the cut and what's the price?
What is it, like $9?
Probably, yeah. I don't know what the price is.
It just says steak on the
You can do no. It's a top sirloin.
Generic
top
steak.
sirloin.
It's fancy, top sirloin.
See, I always thought, lame as it is, Texas Roadhouse had a good steak.
Not for the money, though.
No?
Texas Roadhouse compared money wise is way more.
Really?
Yeah, you can do 2 for $20 at Applebee's and get a 6-ounce steak with mashed potatoes and broccoli, and then whoever you take a date there and get her something nice too. 2 for $20
Wait,
at Applebee's.
Are the
So you
whitest
got-
person I've ever
nice.
known. This man over here, giggling away, is the dark and stormy Jason Lewis.
Yes, sir.
All right, today we're going to ask if these guys are impressed by those Kings and Hawks wins. We got to talk. We definitely got to talk about the rise of Jeremy Grant. He had a big one yesterday. And we'll dig into the Thunder's new play style. Get into more of that later. But first, big milestone. Got to acknowledge this right off the top. Russell Westbrook, 100th triple-double in a game where he... do we want to clap? Okay.
Don't we have a sounder for this? Why are we?
Yeah, I like it better when we do
It's
it.
more
No.
natural that way.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
So I don't know really what more to say. 100 triple doubles is crazy. He's fourth all time, fourth guy ever to do it. He's basically almost done it all in the past 2 seasons,
Insane.
3 seasons really, past
Yeah,
3
yeah.
seasons. 2.5 maybe, 3 seasons really. It's just an incredible accomplishment for him, and it's something that maybe right now, I think if you look at it, being close, watching the team every single night, if you're a fan, even if you just watch the NBA currently, it's one of those things in a couple years, or maybe when Russ is retired, you look back on, you're like, wow.
Like, holy hell, we watched that happen all the time.
He's truly, we know he's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. He's already established himself as that. But he is truly like one of those guys, 10, 20, 30 years down the road that he's just going to be one of those guys people point to and go, that guy was a legend.
Yeah. I mean, the way he plays the game, I think, is the biggest thing that stands out about him, too. Like, the triple-doubles are obviously, like, the thing that puts him up there.
Yeah.
But I think people that have watched him, like, it's always going to be something to remember, like, seeing that guy every night go out and do the thing. Like,
so there's been 100 of them. More importantly, the Thunder are 82-18 in those games. Like, to me, that's the biggest
he's
part.
a damn winner.
Is that you get, like, Russ, you always hear that Russ is just stat padding, and then you hear they win 80% of their games whenever he gets a triple-double. Like, to me, obviously, that kind of clears that up.
And it's great to watch the trolls squirm every time you bring that up. Like, oh, he's a stat pattern. You'd be like, they're 82-18 when he does that. And they're like, well, I mean, the way that people rebound, like, they just get out of the way. They squirm every time you mention that because it's a fact.
It's just funny, though, that I don't know if there's another player in the league that could achieve this, what he's done. Obviously, there's not that can't achieve what he's done. But I'm saying if there was one that did, I don't know if there's another one that it would get discredited as much as it does with Russell Westbrook.
No.
Is that just the nature of who he is, how he plays? People have always not, the way he plays is always going to draw some negative attention from certain basketball fans because he doesn't play a certain style that some people like. It's been from day one with him, right?
Yeah.
With KD, he shot way too much. KD's a 52% shooter. Russ, you shoot 43% from the field. Pass it to him, That's just... He's kind of like abrasive the way he is
like
on the court.
The gunslinger, like the Brett Favre type,
Exactly.
where it's like he's going to get a lot of criticism all the time because he does a lot of bad stuff. You have to take some bad with the good, like the greatness of him. But
the way he gets the triple doubles, right?
Yeah.
He knocks out the rebounds and the assists early, usually,
right,
and then it's the points that he takes care of later. And that's what makes your stat, the 82-18, not really your stat, but
It was mine, yeah. I came up with that.
actually developed it today, right before.
Yeah.
To me, that's what makes it all the more impressive. That the way he goes about winning, he's almost has like a system to it, and he is the triple double now. That's the new thing.
So back when the Big O was doing, not exactly what Russ is doing, but very, very similar.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to people that like watched him. Was there, obviously there wasn't social media back then, but was there the same like, did Big O make triple doubles boring and so routine?
No, because they didn't. No, because they didn't. It wasn't a stat until he was done.
Oh, yeah,
and then whenever they went back and gave him all of those, it was completely. He actually, there was a quote that he had. People were releasing earlier today that like he didn't even realize, like it wasn't a big deal for him. It wasn't even something he thought about.
Yeah, and so a thing like they're kind of saying a lot with him because he missed the averaging a triple double a couple years, like by a rebound or whatever. And they're saying, well, if he knew, if it would have been a stat, maybe he would have went and grabbed that other. And maybe that's true also.
Right.
But he also played like 47 minutes a game.
Yeah.
So whatever. There's no need to even compare, right?
Yeah.
You're talking the 60s, the early 60s at that. And you're talking modern day NBA where you have more great players than ever before.
And more 3-point shots.
And more 3-point shots. And he's a unique player within that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a 3-point shooter. He's shooting 1 a game right now or 2 a game. He's not firing them up.
Hopefully he continues that.
Hopefully he does continue that. But that's what makes it so cool. He's such a unique player.
I do wonder with Russ, like, how will he be remembered? Because as we see him, I think obviously we've grown just respect for what he does. Like, seeing who's out there with him. Like, we watch him all the time. And so, like, we realize how good he actually is. And other people that just hear about it just sort of see the numbers. And then you listen to national media and you sort of gain your perspective on that. I do wonder, like, how will Russ be remembered? Will it be all of these incredible triple-doubles? Will it be an asterisk by that facet of his game that, there's always people out there that are saying, well, he did it because of certain reasons. I kind of wonder about that. And a big part of that will probably be like championships.
Yeah.
Well, however
would
he gets,
change it a lot.
However he's remembered, it's going to be unfair on some level because the way basketball is judged right now, it's basically if you don't win a championship, you're garbage. You know, that's how it is, and that's just not fair. There's so many great players out there right now. Not even LeBron James can win a championship right now with no help. Okay, you need a lot of help to win a championship. So you have. I mean, if he's not remembered for anything greater or as good as being a great player like he is. I mean, even go back before the triple doubles. Look at what he's done in the playoffs. You know, he had KD by his side, but he's won a lot of games, man. He's won. I don't know how many playoff series, but you could probably estimate 18 playoff series or whatever. You know, he's won a lot of playoff series. He's been to the finals. He's had a great career.
He almost dropped 30 points without a meniscus in a game.
Yeah.
Right.
In a half.
That's insane.
He played with a dent in his face.
Yeah,
A game after getting a dent.
So many things with this guy, you know, and I think that people try to water down what he does, and you can understand it to a certain extent, you know, sometimes, but it's not fair to just discredit everything he's done because it's cool. It's cool too to me that Russ acknowledges it. That he's not just brushing off this accomplishment like, yeah, well, I just want to win. Like, this is cool. Like, sit back and enjoy this.
Right,
Man.
no, that's really awesome.
It's a huge achievement. Do you guys think he's going to break the all-time record?
Yes.
I do.
So what? He's about 81 behind, I think. Is that right? 181 is what Oscar's at?
Yeah, it was
181.
81, yeah.
When's it going to happen?
It might take a couple seasons.
So, I mean,
'Cause-
at the current rate he's at,
I mean, it happens in a Thunder jersey for sure.
Yeah.
should.
On this contract,
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
this
right.
current contract, there's no.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So what's sustainable a year? Because obviously 42 is not. He's sitting at what, 21 this season, 22, somewhere around
Something
there.
like that.
It's hard to know with how the team gets, you know,
Right.
with what we're going to be looking at, but I would say conservatively, I think 3 seasons from now. I think that would be
I
sort
guess,
of.
I mean, if he hangs around like 18 to 20 something, like,
yeah,
it'd be all right.
That would make sense.
I would think so. Yeah.
I think 3 to 4 seasons from now, because maybe now that he's hit the 100, I mean, you know, he wants that record, right?
Yeah.
He wants the record.
sure.
And he should.
You go down in the history books as, I mean, that especially to pass Magic Johnson. I almost
Yeah.
feel like that's the record, but it's not. You know,
It's
everyone
not,
considers
yeah.
Big O. I kind of feel like it at 3 to 4
But that
years.
would
is
that would be
probably-
a huge deal also. Like,
Absolutely.
I think when he passes Jason Kidd, like 8 triple doubles from now, that's going to be cool. Like
Definitely.
third all time. That's
It's
awesome.
weird. Isn't it weird though? Like it almost feels like right now, as far as everyone views the triple double, is that it's like watered down to a certain extent.
well, they're happening more frequently.
They
That's
definitely
the problem
are.
as
And,
well.
and then also Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
He's making it such a common thing. He's doing it on a night in, night out basis. I mean, LeBron James has 14 triple doubles this year, and no one's talking about it. In any other year before Russell Westbrook started doing this, that would be such a huge deal.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
That he might be the favorite to win the MVP in any other year with those.
You
14
remember
triple doubles.
the season where Russ had 18? It was like, holy hell,
Whoa!
18?
I know.
That was nuts.
I remember. Was it before 2 seasons ago? I think we were making our season predictions. How many triple doubles he'd have, and I said 11, thinking like, I wonder if he can get 11.
And he was like, I'm gonna one up you a couple.
And that's the year
Yeah,
that he had 18, and then from then just on and on. It's cool, man. It's really cool to see that. You kind of got to take a step back, even as a fan, and just look at it and be like, this is cool that we get to witness this on a daily
Yeah.
basis and just see. You got to try not to take it for granted too, because you know we get frustrated by Russ. He'll go out there
for
and
sure.
have a terrible triple double. He won't even play well, and he has a triple double, and you're like, Russ, just play. You know, come on, man, we need you here. But
be better.
like you said, 82 and 18 when he has a triple double. Stats don't lie when it comes to that.
Indeed.
All right, guys, let's move on to these last 2 wins. Thunder pick up wins versus the Kings and the Hawks. Before that, against the Spurs on a little mini win streak here. Kind of doing what we challenged them to do. Win these games that you're supposed to win, because coming down the stretch, standings are tight. You're in 4th place right now. Thunder have played more games. Shout out to Jason Potter, our buddy on Twitter, for throwing this stat out there that I read last night, that the Thunder have played more games than any other team in the entire NBA to this point. Meaning they have less games than any other team in the entire NBA. Meaning they have more space between their games, you know, marginally.
A little bit of rest.
Little bit of rest, which will be good for this team, especially guys like Steven Adams, who are banged up, Paul George banged up, Carmelo Anthony old, fat, Raymond
Also
Felton, you know what.
large.
But you know, you get the point. It'll be good for this team. They're taking care of business. How impressed are you? Do you feel any better about this team that you did, say, 2 weeks ago?
Definitely feel better than I did 2 weeks ago, but still plenty of room for improvement. And we're going to get to see that coming up because the schedule is going to get so much tougher. But specifically to those 2 games, like there was a point there, you're teetering with the Hawks, who are so banged up, calling guys up, guys on 10-day contracts.
10-day guys,
Who even
G
were
League
those
guys.
people?
I don't. Yeah,
I knew like 4 of their players. I was like, huh?
But there was still that point. I mean, whenever you like going into halftime, there's no way you felt good about that, especially with how this team comes out in the third quarters typically. And then they come out and it was a completely different team.
That was crazy how that switch. So,
Yeah.
This team has flipped a switch to a certain extent this year. You know, they definitely turn it off, turn it on at times. We haven't seen it like that.
Yeah, it was intense.
I mean, we talked a little bit at halftime about it, being down 12, just horrible defense. The Hawks had shot 1 mid-range shot, non-paint 2,
Right.
the entire first half, getting whatever they wanted in the pick and roll. A lot of open looks from 3. Russ having to do everything offensively. Didn't feel good. They flipped that switch.
Yep, they did, and
I cut you off.
no, I didn't. That was pretty much it. I mean, it just is kind of what it is. Like whenever they do want to play, they're really good.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, like more often than not, we're seeing these quarters, like the second quarter, where they got outscored by 15 points to a team that should not be able to score 38 points in a quarter on you. Like that just shouldn't happen.
Right.
So is it that though? Is it that the Thunder are capable of flipping that switch and being that good, or is it more of they're playing that team that shouldn't be capable of scoring 38 points, and you have guys like Jeremy Grant who we're going to get into that are are mismatches in a game like this and are able to just totally dominate. You are missing Paul George and Steven Adams in the finals.
I mean, like still though, you're playing a college team.
Yeah,
Barely.
yeah.
Like I feel like every game that they've been in lately, there's always one of those quarters. There's one in every single game
And
lately.
it is the NBA.
And like teams are going to go on runs for sure every game. But
you've seen against the Kings, I think it was 39.
Yeah.
And then the Hawks, it was 38. And so I think that's the point, though. Like, these are NBA players, and so you expect them to be able to, like, I wouldn't expect it to be 120 to 60. That's not what we're talking about. But to give up 38 points in a quarter, like, that's more than just, like, having sort of a down quarter. That's really bad, and there's obviously something else going on there to let that happen. They were still able to overcome it, which because that if they lose that game and it wasn't close, they won by 12.
That'd have been a horrible loss.
That would have so bad, especially going into what they're about to go into.
Well, and Minnesota and Portland both won, right?
Yes.
So that would have been terrible.
Yeah, because they picked up good wins, especially Minnesota on the
And
road
New
to
Orleans.
Washington and New Orleans.
Yeah. So, but my thing about the switch is like, what is causing them to not want to flip it on? Like,
I mean, I know it's
keep it on.
It's not like a decision you make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you have to figure out as professional athletes, as a team coming into the year with expectations and with, I don't know, when you vocalize these desires you have to get to win a championship, to really compete, you have to figure out what works for you to get up for the game. And sometimes they're not doing that. But, I guess, are we going too far even complaining at all when you win a game by 12 because on the road?
I mean, winning is great. Winning is always good. Like it's gonna.
I agree.
It's gonna cure a lot
That's
of things.
the title of this episode. Winning is good.
Winning equals good things. So yeah, that's it. Kind of covers up some of the bad smell for these games. But at the same, we keep talking about the switch. Like, are they going to be able to do that against Houston? Yeah, you go back to that Houston game where Houston just kind of like started to put their foot on the Thunder's throat. And no matter what they did, like they would go on those runs, and Houston would just kind of step down just a little bit harder every time. Yes. They're not going to be able to flip that switch against the really, really good teams.
Right. So that's kind of what I was getting. Like, is building this habit of like, well, we can just come back and we'll be good next quarter or whatever. That's bad going into this situation where you're like, hey, if you get down, this is serious all of a sudden. Like, like you could be done.
It's definitely not good, but it's good that you see, like, in a game like the Spurs, They've done it all year for the most part. Yeah, they didn't play well versus Houston last week, but against the Spurs a couple days ago, they come out of the gates with intensity.
Right.
And you hope that they do that on these last stretch of games.
And in that game, I mean, they were able to hold the Spurs off whenever they were making runs. Like, that was really nice to see. And it is, like Justin said, it's nice to see them win these close games, or not close necessarily, but these games against bad teams now, whereas before they would have dropped this. Like,
and
early
also
in the season.
Spurs are a bad team. Like,
yeah, they're not good.
That is true.
They are a team that you usually don't have to
weird.
worry about coming in to compete. Though,
you should respect them,
That's my
no
point.
matter who they throw out there, they all are going to play. Usually, they play well. The Spurs right now are a disaster. And
way under 500 since the new year.
Yeah,
so weird.
awkward.
Yeah,
Think they're gonna miss the playoffs?
I wouldn't bet on it.
No?
But I do think that they're not winning a first round.
Wasn't there a stat yesterday that like their road record is the first time they've had a losing road record since 96, 97, which was the last time they missed the playoffs.
That's
insane.
So insane, man.
96?
That's that they've had some injuries here and there, and they've gone through some. I mean, that's too long of a stretch to not go through anything. Just the fact that you've overcome everything, and just no matter what,
it never mattered.
But you do look at the Spurs when they're out there on the court, which you guys talked about this on Sunday, I'm sure. But you just see some names, you're like, who?
Yeah.
Who's that? But Spurs have made a living out of just kind of.
They usually win with those guys.
Yeah, they just kind of, somehow these guys are good now.
The Spurs are the only organization in the entire NBA. I feel like they could go find a guy in the stands 20 minutes before tip off, put him on a 10-day contract,
he's out there running
and he'd
sets.
still drop like 8 and 2 somehow.
Baseline spins, getting buckets.
He's 5'4" and still like scores and gets rebounds. Like what?
In that Hawks game, going back to that Hawks game, in the whole switch thing, it comes out and defense was the issue very early on. The Thunder looked like even Corey Brewer, a guy that has been nothing but effort on the court since he's got to Oklahoma City, lazy, giving up a lot of threes. They get 2 turnovers on the first 2 possessions in that game, the Thunder do, and they don't turn the Hawks over for like, I don't know how long until after that.
A bit.
Like 16, 17 game minutes. And the only offense that was working was Russ just realized that he could just get to the rim whenever he wanted.
Yeah.
And you could see him getting frustrated.
Yeah.
With, I don't know, his teammates. Paul George tweeted this out last night. What's going on with him? Hasn't shot, hold on, I have it right here. Hasn't shot better than 45% in a game since February 14th. That's exactly a month ago, guys. Versus Memphis. Hasn't topped 45% shooting in a game.
It's
Since when?
February 14th.
February
1
14th.
month ago to the day.
that's
So
crazy.
what's going on here? I mean, is this something that should be concerning to us? This is since the All-Star break. That was the game right before the All-Star break.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he was in a great rhythm going into that, and then all of a sudden that got him out of it. I mean, because I mentioned the thing Billy said where it was like it's great for them getting rest, but it sucks for the rhythm. But his shot, like, I don't know, it seems like every once in a while in a game he'll get it going for just a minute, and then it just goes away all of a sudden. You're like, what?
Yeah, it was the Hawks game, was it? Or was it the Kings game? Now I'm getting flipped. Which did he have the hot start in?
The Kings game, I think,
The
right?
Kings?
Right? We started really well and then shit the bed the rest of the game.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, that is right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it, but it reminds me of early in the season. What are you shaking your head at?
No,
Paul George.
Paul George was 0 of 4 in the Kings game.
In the first
In
quarter?
the first quarter.
So it was
Oh,
the
well,
Hawks
that wasn't it.
It was the Hawks game. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. It reminds me of the beginning of the season when he just he couldn't get quite comfortable. Like he's on the verge of being comfortable. You know what I mean? Like you said, he has a couple possessions where he
Right.
looks good, but then it's just like he's a little hesitant to shoot that ball when all we want is to shoot it. Shoot it with no hesitation, dude. You're that good of a shooter. Just shoot it. He just can't seem to get going. But should we trust that he's going to get it going? I mean, at this point, you kind of have to.
Didn't you bring something up about like talking to a Pacers fan or something about him being streaky? Was that you?
We've heard that all year, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard Pacers fans just talk about him being crazy straight. But last year, second half of the season, Paul George was absolutely slayed.
Yeah.
I mean, he was awesome.
Especially when he got in the playoffs, though. So.
And I guess it's not as easy to just all of a sudden start making your shots, but you got to figure something out because this team's going to need him.
Well, it's one of those where, I mean, look, you're going to go through slumps. This is a tough game. You play 82 games a year. Like, you're going to have those bad nights. You're going to have a stretch of bad nights shooting. I'm not worried at all. I think he just needs to stick with it, keep shooting. You got to shoot yourself out of a slump anyways.
Yeah, he definitely has to keep shooting.
And I feel like eventually, he's kind of he started to hit a few shots. It was like maybe, but not quite there. I think he's gonna get to that point where he hits 3 or 4 in a row and just finally like it just takes that deep breath. And especially if he's gonna miss a little bit of time with this groin injury,
Sounds like he's not.
Oh, good.
According to him.
Yeah,
Good.
He says he's
Yeah.
fine. Right?
I hadn't heard anything else, but yeah, just see if you go in, finally get that weight lifted off your chest, and hopefully going into the playoffs, and especially in these tough games, hopefully it'll kind of work out for him.
Yeah, I don't know if they need to try getting him in different positions, maybe put the ball in his hands a little bit more. But right now, Russ is in a rhythm. Russ was struggling immediately after the All-Star break, and we were all kind of worried about him. Now it appears like he's getting his rhythm. Be a great time for Paul George to get his rhythm going into these, 11 straight games of playoff teams or fighting for playoff teams? Is that right?
Yeah. 11 of them, yeah. The worst one, which I put this out there the other day, was like 4 games over 500, which was the Heat. And so all the other teams are even better than that record-wise. So it's definitely going to get tough.
And a lot of tough ones on the road.
Yep.
I mean, the Thunder haven't won a big road game since Golden State early in February. It's been a long time.
It's true.
I think if they want this 4 seed, they're probably going to have to get some of those road games.
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely.
1, 2, 3 of them against these good teams. Whether it's Celtics who are banged up right now, that's a road game you'd like to go in and win.
Stay banged up.
The Thunder have traditionally played pretty well in Toronto. Be interested to see if they kind of go in there and can grab a win versus the East best team. I don't know. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
But you've put yourself in this position.
I mean, I feel like it's time for them to start giving us stuff we asked for.
Yeah,
They
I agree.
haven't done it all year.
I agree. It's like, it's been 3 months since Christmas.
Yeah. Give us another present.
What the hell, guys? I mean, they're here in 4th. I think most of us predicted either 3rd or 2nd in the regular season. Rob probably homered with a 2nd. I remember. They still have a shot. They still have a shot to get 3rd. But it kind of feels like Portland might be. I mean, you say that 1 minute, and all it takes is losing 2, 3 in a row, and you're right back with the others. Mm-hmm. But Portland's hot right now. Minnesota's probably got the easiest schedule out of all these guys, but they are missing Jimmy Butler.
They beat the Dubs the other day without him.
I know.
Kevin Durant. Come on,
Always
bro.
just screwing the Thunder, man. It's like his new thing.
Yep.
I want to talk about Corey Brewer a little bit.
I like him.
I've missed the last couple of pods. Haven't been able to talk to him with you guys or talk about him
I was
with
like,
you.
I was like, wait, hold on. We've been
talk to
talking to him.
I wish I could. No. But are you obviously you got to be surprised at what he's bringing this team? But how surprised are you that he's been the upgrade he's been? Obviously not to Andre Robertson, but to Hustis, Abrinas, Ferguson. Like just how substantial of an upgrade he's been. Like how surprising is that to you?
I've talked so much about Corey
Right,
Brewer.
yeah,
Like
you
between
really
these
have.
pods and the aftershocks, like I've talked so much. But I will say this. It's been so shocking to me the fact that he's actually been a slight upgrade, like offensively, like as bad as he was shooting. Like you look at his numbers and
He was like
and
18% from 3 before he got here.
how like Robertson had like finally started to figure it out. Like they had finally gotten him in roles that or sets that like fit what he needs to do. And like it's not always going to show up on the stat sheet what Brewer does on the offensive end because he just moves. Like he creates other opportunities for the other guys on the court. And so you're not going to see that on the stat sheet. But as you're watching these games, like you can just tell there's so much knowledge of just what to do on the basketball court. Like you can tell that, that's just a veteran guy that knows where to go without the ball. And he's low maintenance, like he's so easy. So,
Yeah, and they talk about his personality and how it affects guys in the locker room and stuff. But you're right. I think that energy too, when you have guys that that are capable of putting out energy that other guys can't match. You know what I mean? Like it's a skill.
Well,
energy is a skill, and he gives it.
This team has that with Russ.
Yes.
Like you get that, and then there's a fall. There was a fall off from that. Like you look after Russ, and then you have Brewer come in, which that is probably a little refreshing to Russ as well.
Yeah, he's like, finally someone.
And that's
He's not the only one out there that has that going.
It's cool to see another guy out there that will pick up a loose ball and just jet down the court.
Right.
Like even no matter how ugly it looks.
Oh, it's terrible.
No,
Yeah.
but he
Looks
somehow
very
keeps the
frightening.
ball. I don't know how he holds on to it,
It
but
is
he does.
strange.
But it's just nice to see him put pressure on the defense, make them work a little bit, have confidence to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
Which I think that alone might be the biggest upgrade to guys like Houston, Abrinas, and Ferguson.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, as far as energy, like Russ has that angry energy,
Mm-hmm.
and Corey Brewer has like that happy, bubbly energy.
That's
So it's
true.
like a yin and a
He
yang
like
for
has
the team.
bounce when he runs. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Definitely has that.
like if you ever watched Dennis Rodman run back in the day, he did that too. Like it's like that same just boing boing, like a little bunny foo foo up,
Boing, boing, boing,
up
boing,
the
boing.
court. It's been huge, man. But I don't. Is it sustainable? What he's doing? I don't think that the shooting is
No, the
sustainable.
shooting's not.
But the fact that he can on a given night give you 15, just almost
Just through-
trash buckets and a corner three or two.
Yeah, just like moving around,
Mm-hmm.
he gets points just because Russ will find him, or anyone that's moving.
Yeah.
He'll typically find you. And so he gets easy points that way. And that's something we never got before. And I think this kind of goes back to what Rob was saying before about like this kind of makes me feel like those other guys just aren't very good. Like,
Yes.
and
100%.
it might just take experience to get to that level where they're like, oh, I know what to do in this situation when I get the ball, or I know like I can feel confident with the ball in my hand, and not feel like this guy's just going to take it from me as soon as I have it.
I think that's such a huge thing is the confidence. I mean, that's the biggest gap there to me. You've seen Houston actually be pretty good since he's gone to the bench.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about that on Sunday, how like,
Abrinas too.
yeah, I mean, it seems like once they got like, hey, your role is now not, you don't have to worry about like getting back, like pushed in the starting lineup randomly. You're now a bench player. Like, it's kind of, their lineups have still been a little wonky, of course, but at least now they know like, this is what I'm doing. And so I think that makes them a little more confident, and they can feel better about it.
Another cool thing is the fact that Brewer's hitting these corner threes. You wonder if that'll like stretch out the defense a little bit. If now you almost have to be like, well, shit, I guess we
Can he
need-
shoot?
I guess we have to respect him a little bit because he's knocking him down.
So in LA, 54 games with the Lakers, he was 8 of 43.
Phew.
In 6 games with the Thunder, he is 8 of 20.
Wow.
He's already matched how many he made with the Lakers.
I'd like to see the corner three breakdown on that. I wonder about like just the system.
Yeah.
Corey Brewer does not seem like a guy to fit in a Lakers/Warriors type system, right? He's just not that player. But now that we see him, obviously it helps that we've seen it. Seems like he just fits in that Thunder system where it's just like, yeah, you need a lot of energy, you need a nose for the ball, and you need to just not be afraid. And
Well, that's something
somehow he
Rob,
slides right in.
Rob brought up about him playing previously with Harden in Houston, and kind of like it being a similar thing where it's like that guy always has the ball. You just move around, and he'll get it to you maybe if you're open.
Yeah.
And it's like that might have helped him kind of easily transition into this, I think.
Has this changed the playoff outlook for this team to you guys?
Definitely, yeah. Like, and it's 100% helped with like seeding, getting to
Right.
the 4th spot right now. Like that has definitely been a huge impact to what we are seeing right now. And I think it's awesome that we're going to get these stretch of games where we're going to be playing better teams, because that's going to help him even more figure out what he needs to be doing. Like, it's one thing whenever the competition isn't as good, and it sort of gives you a little bit of time to feel it out a little bit. Like, you're about to like jump right into it.
Yeah.
And we'll see what he can do, because whenever he was coming, and I don't know if it's fair to really say this or not, but whenever he first got here, he played against Portland and Houston, and he was a minus 34 combined in
Off the
those 2
bench.
games. Yeah. So those are the better teams that you played. Now he's playing worse competition, and he's doing really well. So it's also with the starters. Fit is definitely something. Like, that's something you need to take into account. And so maybe just starting. I don't know what to chalk it up to. Do you chalk it up to him starting? Do you chalk it up to just worse competition?
I think it's a big part of it is starting. I think he
Yeah.
fits with that starting group a lot better.
For sure.
I called that, by the way.
He's
Did.
7 of 14 from the corner
As a Thunder.
as a Thunder player.
Oh, I was wondering about the Lakers. Like how? I'm sorry.
New homework
no,
test.
no, sorry. I had to filter it by March because that was the only way I could
Gotcha.
get it to one team.
I was just curious if he got corner threes with the Lakers,
Yeah, I
or
don't
if he
know.
was like kind of playing a different role a little bit.
Did
But I mean, he's just been huge with the starters, and he's probably obviously Russ's performance and Paul George's performance are always going to be the number one factors of success for this team. But Brewer, man, it's just been huge. And we on our over under minutes, you said 16, right? And we were all like, man, that's a pretty good number. And I said over, and I was thinking like 18 to 20. Yeah, we're all way low. Yeah. This dude's going to play at least 30 minutes a game in the playoffs.
30.
Wow.
He's going to. Do you not think so? I think he's definitely.
I wouldn't go 30, but I would go.
We were talking
I
about
wouldn't go. I mean, where he's at.
He played 32 against the Hawks, which obviously no Paul George, and he played 33 against the Kings.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. I just don't
know where those minutes go.
Well, that's been the whole. That's the whole thing right there. Is where do you feel comfortable putting those minutes? And to help your point, like you could see smaller rotations going into the playoffs. So,
no doubt.
He'll be playing a little bit more. It just seems like a bunch of minutes, and I wonder if we are sort of going to be looking at a little bit of a loop here where we are going to see, man, he looks really good right now,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets too many minutes maybe, or not that I think that he's the type of guy that can't handle that, because I think that he'll be fine. It'll be really interesting to see how effective he is against like the tougher teams, the guys that he's actually going to have to run around and chase. It'll be interesting to see how he handles that.
That's gonna be huge, and I think offensively it seems inevitable that we will see him go down a little bit. But the good thing about it is you don't need him to do a lot. You got to do the things that Jason was talking about. Cut to the basket, go to the open spots on the floor, and be there.
Do the Dre stuff.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I need.
And I wonder how much of that is to credit for his success. That you can be like, hey, we're running these same sets we've been preparing all season long, all last season long, and we can plug you in, and you know how to.
You know exactly how to do that.
Yeah, Robertson's been learning how to do that. You know how to do this.
Yeah, just watch what that guy did. Just do that.
Just make that shot, though. You got to be. And the thing about him is he's willing, right or wrong, he's willing to shoot that shot.
He's
damn right he's taking it.
Yeah, he's making it right now. But what happens whenever he hits a little, because he's 40% with the Thunder. Mm-hmm. What happens whenever that dips down? Let's say he has a week and a half stretch, where he shoots 4 for, whatever.
Right.
Or 2 for 12 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is his confidence then? What happens to him then where he starts to think about it, starts to question it, or, he starts to worry about it?
That's almost been a theme for this team this year.
Yeah, he fits right in. Yeah.
You said it. That's like even the stars on this team. They're doing some of that.
Right.
It's like you look at Russ and how little he's shooting the 3 ball right now. Do you think that's...
Love it.
Yeah, do you think that's like him looking at the stats and be like, I'm shooting 28% from 3 this year? Oh, maybe I shouldn't.
Pull those back a bit.
Well, I mean, credit to him if he's finally doing that. But
I mean, he's gone on a stretch before the season, like earlier in the season, where he held them under like 3 or something like that for a while. But then he busted them back open again. And it's just chucked up 7.
And
shit, man.
I think with Russ, what you often see is that he goes through these streaks where he's killing it, like he's doing now. And he does a lot, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 games, whatever. Teams adjust. Teams are like, all right, well, we're going to take this away from you. Like you saw the Rockets took away Steven Adams completely. They wouldn't let him go to Steven Adams. No shooters on the court because whatever.
We're us.
Yeah, because you're the Thunder. And you do that to Russ, and you force him to do something he's uncomfortable doing, and he's hesitant doing it, and then he goes on these little slumps.
Yeah.
And the other teams copy that, and then he figures it out. And then he figures that out, and then, the cycle starts over. So that's kind of what you see with this team, and hopefully that's the good thing about Corey Brewer is he has that will about him, that, that overall dirty grit in the playoffs that becomes so valuable.
Yeah,
you
for sure.
really need that in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's like one of the biggest things we missed without Robertson was, the willingness to go do those things that nobody else on the court was doing.
A little dirty plays.
And I'm like, I think, Rob, did you mention talking about how...
Probably so, yes.
I'm stealing all your points. But
yeah. They're good.
They were good. They were good.
Digging in, he's like, I need something.
Big Aftershock fan.
I love him. But you were talking about how he, maybe he's helping Abrinas and them find their spots and stuff.
Yeah. I hope that with as much knowledge that he has, just of where to go, what to do, how to fill lanes, which NBA players should be a lot better at than what they are. But I do kind of hope that he can kind of use his just the time that he's just being a veteran and kind of talk with those guys, or at least in practice, just kind of work with those guys on moving without the ball or where to be on different looks and stuff like that.
Well, a guy I've been really impressed with to that point is Abrinas lately. Since the Spurs game, I want to say.
Yeah,
he's played really well,
good game,
shooting really well from three. Not
taking
hesitating,
some deep ones,
putting the ball on the floor and making not necessarily making a play, but keeping the ball moving, keeping the offense going, not being stagnant, and looks confident. Not bad on defense.
Yeah,
not fouling as much as that was a huge issue.
Huge.
It's offensively to me is where I think that I'll continue to say I think you got to ride or die with Abrinas. I still don't know if he's very good, but the fact that what you do see when he does make shots, what you do see when he puts. You saw a little move. Was it in the Hawks game? I keep doing this, but he puts the ball on the floor with his left, and someone goes for the rip, and he just for second dribble right behind the back with confidence.
Didn't know he could do that.
Creates separation, makes a quick pass to Patterson, who has a good look at where he can shoot it or just keep the ball moving. It's just good things like that. When you see it, you're like, that guy's got to play. No one else playing his position can do that.
Right.
Maybe Corey Brewer. Definitely not Hustis. Definitely not Terrence Ferguson at this point. I think you got to see Abrinas out there.
You're going to have to call on him for some offense at some point, right? So you want him to be out with this, kind of getting back to that bench unit where he is confident and play. It feels like he's at least playing well. So I feel like you have to, I guess it is confidence, but you have to feel like you're playing well.
Yeah.
Because if you know, and especially on a team with Russell Westbrook, man, like if you feel like you're disappointing Russell Westbrook, you're really going to start to shit the bed on offense.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we need him for. So I love the way he's playing, and I just don't think about it. Just go play.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it seems like he's doing right now. Is it time to just go ahead and sit Ferguson and say, all right, you're done for the year?
So here's the thing. If it comes down with get down on that position on the bench, like if you're looking at three guys there, Hustis, Ferguson, and Abrinas, Ferguson is shot. Like you can't, even whenever you watch him, like he is just not playing well at all.
He gives you one thing, and that's hustle, and he plays
bounce.
Hard.
But it's just not work. It's just not. Yeah. It's not working. And so if somebody wants to say Hustis in that position, I totally get that. As long as he's going to
in like a matchup situation, maybe.
Well, no, I mean if we're saying with the bench unit, because like I don't think you can go to Ferguson anymore. Especially not on the stretch that they're getting ready to go to against better teams, because he's struggling against bad teams.
Yeah,
right.
And so if Billy, and I still don't understand it. Like I don't get why Abrinas is having so much trouble with Donovan or what he sees. What the reasoning is there on why he doesn't get regular minutes.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So. And my question was actually going to be, why does Ferguson keep getting in there? But it goes hand in hand with that question. Why is it? Is it that thing like, when you're playing the Kings, you're playing the Hawks, and it's early in the game, and you feel confident that you can, even the coach feels confident you can turn on the switch and win. You're like, let's get this guy out here. Let's continue to develop him. Is that what it is?
I don't know what it is. And I'd like to hear from Billy. Like, I think that's a great question to ask Billy is what, especially after those games where you see that Ferguson is struggling, and just the minutes of Abrinas are so sporadic. Like, there's no way, there's nothing consistent.
How can you catch a rhythm, especially when you're a shooter? Which rhythm is maybe the biggest thing you need.
It's all part of Billy Donovan's plan. He wants to make sure that Alex Abrinas doesn't get into this rhythm of playing
until the right time.
12 minutes a game or something like that. So he's always ready.
It seems like Abrinas is his play toy. Like, he's like, I just mess with. You're the guy I mess with because he messes with rotations all the time, but especially with Abrinas.
It has to either be Abrinas or Hustis to me for him to do that too, because like you can't do that with Ferguson at this point. I don't think. Like, even though he's the youngest, and that would kind of make sense.
You mean you're talking about like tugging around, playing
just to kind of mess with him, because the confidence, like you need to make sure that's the Thunder's.
That makes sense.
Of the young guy's biggest asset. And so, like, I think he has to figure out with Hustis and Abrinas, like, what he's going to do with those two. But Ferguson, to me, like, has to be kind of shut down almost, because
I think
there's no way there's no way Billy has confidence in that.
He's not going to help you win in these crucial games down the stretch. What, 12 games left? 12 games left.
12,
And it's not helping him. Like,
no, it's not helping him.
It doesn't feel like it's making him feel better about himself or learn much.
But he goes right. There's the thing, though, is he's the first guy of those three typically that we're seeing come in. Like after he came back from that concussion, he came in that first quarter before Houston.
That was so weird.
Before Arenas.
Didn't make on the heels of Arenas playing so well against the Spurs.
Right, and then he doesn't play for the entire first half.
I just didn't.
And then he plays in the second half.
Yeah, it was so weird and like late kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really make sense. And I do want to bring this up. At ToddBoy23 on Twitter.
Call him up.
Because
taking that 23 off his name.
So, to his point, he said it's clear that Donovan is I can't remember exactly what he said, but that he's valuing the defensive end more so that those guys bring than what we're getting from Arenas. Obviously, I'll 100% agree with that. But to me, you're missing out. You're not looking at the whole picture if that's what Billy is going to go with. Because it doesn't make sense to me. And I'll still say, in the playoffs, like, of those three, you're going to trust Arenas that he's going to be able to give you more in like, let's just say a couple of games in that series than any of those other guys.
I think you can make a case for Houston in that argument, but
maybe.
But yes.
But not Ferguson,
offensive,
for sure.
Definitely not Ferguson. Here's one thing to Ferguson's credit, because I don't want it to seem like we're just bashing on him.
I like the guy.
Dude has been shooting the corner three really well lately. He's up to 42% from the corners this year.
Yes, this is my perfect chance to step in because I did all that damn research on Corey Brewer. I was just sitting there looking at all these numbers like, damn it, they moved on from Corey when I finally had it. So with the Lakers, he was 4 of 26. And with the Thunder, he's 7 of 14 with that corner three.
Just he wasn't getting the passes in the right spot.
Yeah.
Right.
Goddamn Lonzo Ball.
Hey, every three he's made has been assisted. It's not like
on the season or this year?
No, just with the Thunder.
Oh, yeah, I would 100% expect that to
happen. I mean,
he's not out there dribbling around.
Shoots a step back, I'll be a little concerned. But like, all right, the confidence is too high now.
Yeah, let's bring it back down.
All right, one guy we haven't even really got to touch on so far is Jeremy Grant. Huge in that Hawks game. Really huge in different times all season long for this team. What were his numbers in that game last night?
Very good numbers.
Yeah.
He had 20 points.
8 for 14 on those.
57%.
Yeah.
He was 50% from three.
So
shooting 4 of them.
So aggressive. By the way,
that's impressive.
By the way, I'm hoping, because he's been dreadful from three this year. I'm hoping, because last year he had a good year from three. I'm hoping that starts to go up towards that. You know, he's starting to catch his rhythm a little bit.
Feels
just
like
in time. Just in time.
Going through the full motion of his shot and everything. He's not hesitating as much when he's shooting them. I'm kind of impressed.
He is trusted by the veterans on this team.
Yep.
Russ, Paul George, Melo, Steven Adams. They trust this guy.
There was a bit in that Hawks game where Russ just was feeding him over and over, and he's found a way to just start getting fouled all the time.
So slender, dude.
He just sneaks his arms up in there.
He has so much arm to be fouled.
Is that the noise that he makes?
Yeah. But yeah, in those high pick and rolls, if you get him going like that and you get him ahead of steam, and it's not just that. This is what I love about Jeremy Grant. It's not only that. On the other end, he's taking charges.
Yeah.
A lot of charges this year.
Got 2 last night?
In one that was not called.
Oh, yeah.
It was totally a charge. I was really surprised it wasn't called. So he's just doing it on both ends. He's going to be huge. How many minutes a game is he going to play in the playoffs? Over under 23.
Oh, man. Assuming Adams is healthy, everybody's good to go. I would...
I'm going to go slightly under.
I sure as hell hope it's over.
I think it should be over.
If he keeps playing like this, it should very much be over.
What do you have, Rob, here? Because I have a follow-up point I want to make on this.
I'll go slightly over, like 24, 25 minutes.
And here's the hard thing with going over, because now you have Patterson who's playing well too right now. You're kind of stacked up front. You have Adams, you have Melo, you have Grant, you have Patterson. Now the guys that you're not sure about are Husis and Arenas. Yeah. Now you can maybe slide Grant to the 3, but that's not where they've been playing him. He's been really good at the 5 lately, or maybe the 4 or the 5, whoever is playing the 5. Patterson,
whatever that means now.
It's basically who you're guarding on defense. I think is mainly what it is. But someone's got to sacrifice minutes here, and you wonder what's going to happen. How are you going to be able to get all the guys that are your best players minutes?
We talked about this on the last pod. And we were talking about how Melo needs to probably, those minutes need to step back.
They have come down just a hair here in the past few games.
I think
he's also, to Melo's credit, he's been pretty good the past couple.
He has been pretty good. Shooting the ball better.
But I mean, if that might be the way that Jeremy gets in there for that over on those minutes is if you bring Melo down just a smidge. And I mean, that was my point of like keeping it under though, is that, I mean, your starters are going to play a lot of minutes in the playoffs. Like their minutes are going to go up a lot. So I don't know if his are going to be able to stay above 23 that much.
Do you think we see Adams' minutes come down at all?
I wouldn't want that to happen.
I know you like, but is there any way we overvalue Adams at all? Look,
No.
like
You're wrong.
At some point, I'm not saying he's not as good as he actually is. Here's what I'm saying: are there some matchups that maybe are better? When you see Grant and Patterson out there as a combination, I know it's the Hawks.
I like those two
I know we're
together.
looking at the Hawks, but are there some situations where maybe you're like, I think we can kill teams right now if we get Adams out of there, we get a little more speed, a little more athleticism in there.
Yeah, I could
be
for
possible.
sure see Billy using that lineup with those two guys together. I could see that a lot.
Just lose out on one of your biggest strengths, which is offensive rebounding and
Right.
screen setting.
Yeah, it's just if you're going against a team that's not really a worry, I think you could do that. But
Yeah, I want to see some of these. It's something I think we thought we were going to see a lot more of, these like Thunder death lineups this year, and we really haven't seen much of them. And it doesn't help when you don't have Robertson. He would
and
be
it
a huge
hurts
player.
when you're
They
dying
have
most
Brewer,
of the game.
really athletic player in Brewer, Paul George, Jeremy Grant is playing out of his mind. Then you can, I don't know, it'd just be fun to see something like that where you can really get up and down the court. And it came to my mind, what about a lineup of Russell, Paul George, Melo, Grant, and Patterson? We've seen that lineup one time this season.
I like
And
that.
it was in the first month. You basically can have Grant playing the 3 on offense and Melo, or on
Doing
defense, I mean,
something.
guarding on defense and Melo playing the 3 on offense.
Yeah,
Could be fun.
it could be.
It's something we haven't seen.
I don't know. It's still to the Adams point. Like I think as long as Steven Adams is ready,
Yep.
healthy, like he needs to be out there as much as
48
possible.
minutes.
He's this team's third best player, for sure.
Yeah,
Maybe second. You can make a case for second right now.
yeah, but there also is like Jeremy Grant with that second unit has been so good, and
And he's good with the starters, you know?
he's
so with
really good.
starters,
So
which I guess
that
everyone is.
brings
but-
up the question though. So they play the Clippers next. You have DeAndre Jordan. Do you go back to Dakari
If
just
Adams-
to start, or do you? Yeah, if Adams is out, because Grant looks so good.
I think you probably do.
You go back to Dakari.
Give him a
Yeah.
full 6 minutes.
Because you can do the same thing you did if you feel like you have to. And you don't want to get out physicaled right from the
See,
jump.
I think I would want to go the other way.
Really?
Yeah, I want to see with as good as that lineup looked, and it was incredible
It
against
was
the Hawks.
real nice.
That
It
one
was
with Dakari?
real nice.
No, no.
Hey,
So
it wasn't bad.
I want to see it with.
Hey, he's shooting 100%.
Yeah, he was.
Since
I want to
last
see it
night.
with Jeremy Grant, and assuming Adams is out, like I want to see Jeremy Grant in there and just try and get up and down, try and go really quick. And if that's not working, then you bring in Dakari, because I don't think you're losing anything by then bringing Jeremy Grant in with the bench unit and going that way.
Well, I just think the Clippers are the one team where Dakari is a better matchup.
He's
for
kind
the
of
starting
useful in
lineup.
that situation.
And the last time that Steven Adams was hurt and missed a few games, we played the Clippers. Dakari started. They played a hell of a game. Now, granted, this is a much different Clippers team. They're playing a lot better now.
Yeah.
But I think you use a little bit of that, like, hey, it worked previously. It's clearly a good matchup for Dakari. He doesn't have to work as hard. He's not quick, but neither is DeAndre
But he's
Jordan.
physical.
So
And
you
DeAndre
can-
Jordan is physical.
He's a bigger.
Yeah,
well, he's a bigger
and so I
body
think- but
to throw at him too.
The thing is, I mean, you can play him for 14 minutes. Just let him bully DeAndre Jordan, because the thing is, you got to get physical with him. That's why Steven Adams is so great. Jeremy Grant's not going to be able to be physical with DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
Patrick
Well,
Patterson isn't going to be able to
don't
be
know. I don't
that physical with DeAndre
I don't know how much
Jordan.
I buy into. You have to be physical with DeAndre Jordan. You have to make sure you're maintaining contact with him. But that's just so that he doesn't go over the top of you. Like as
agree.
long
Yeah.
as you're maintaining where you should be and keeping angles, like he shouldn't be able to do the lobs and stuff like that.
You don't want DeAndre getting off and feeling confident right from the jump.
I will
being
say-
like, I can dominate you guys.
I will say this though. Rebounding is going to be the biggest.
That's where it's at.
Is the biggest issue, and if that's where
That's where the physicality comes
if
in.
that's where it's Dakari, if that's where you need Dakari, I totally get that. But I just think I'd still like to see Jeremy Grant with those starters again. Like, let's do that. Let's do that again.
Let's do that a
You'll
bunch.
see a lot of
not necessarily as a starting lineup.
No, I want to see it in the starting lineup to get out on top because Dakari, you can say whatever you want about how good he could do against DeAndre Jordan. That's a guy that you're going to have that's limited in there where you could use Jeremy Grant to pull DeAndre away from the rim and go that way as well to create an advantage on offense.
It goes both ways because I think you can make case for both because sometimes
it's a buy point.
You can't really just come out of the gates and get up and running all game, and just force it down their throat on fast breaks. That's kind of a thing you find your rhythm throughout the game and then you kind of establish that. But maybe I don't know. I could see it going both ways. But what do you think he's going to do? I think he's going to start Dakari.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm. Yeah.
I would expect nothing less from Billy to start Dakari.
He might just start Nick. You never know.
Ooh, I'm for it.
Well,
no,
the fact that he
For
played
4 minutes.
the fact that he started him against the Hawks, realized it was a mistake, and played him 6 minutes. Like, I expect nothing less than Billy's going to start him and at least try that.
He goes, I'm not sure that's such a mistake after all. Let me try that again.
And the bench really has. Before we move on, the bench really has been good for this team lately. Mostly Grant and Patterson, a little bit of Felton.
They struggled against the Hawks, but
They
other
did.
than
but
that,
when you
they've
have
been
Grant and
playing really
Patterson
well. That's true.
Played pretty well, so that helps. And it's weird how this team is laid out right now. You wish that it was a little more scattered position-wise as far as the players you can trust, because it's going to be difficult to try to find minutes for all those guys, as you said you talked about. Before we move on to these Twitter questions, I just want to drop a little fun stat. Ooh. I was just doing a little research last night about how the NBA has changed since really Russell Westbrook's been in the league, since the Thunder have been in Oklahoma City. The Thunder have completely changed their play style since Billy Donovan's been the coach. Shooting a lot more threes. In 2015-16, which was Billy's first season, they shot like 23.5 threes a game, which not a lot. They're shooting 30 a game this year. Last year they shot 25 a game, which they had no business shooting 25 a game last year.
Definitely should not have been doing that.
But Russ shot like 8, and Oladipo shot a fair amount as well, and you had more on the team for a certain amount of time. Whatever, you had some guys. This year they're shooting 30 per game. Mm-hmm. Their first season in Oklahoma City, they shot 11.6 per game. In 10 years,
that's nuts.
They're shooting 19 more a game. It's just crazy. It's great to see. Are you guys liking that the Thunder have kind of shifted to this new basketball, new modern basketball? Is it refreshing to see?
I mean, I think you have to just to keep, do you play a little keeping up with the Joneses? Mm-hmm. But it's the way the game's evolving. You've got more wings out there. It's not as big centric as it used to be. So yeah, I like it.
But
did it seem like they were refusing to do it for a couple of years though?
For sure, but
they're trying to go against the grain.
Yeah.
But I think like keeping like with Steve out there, like you kind of have like a hybrid of the two, so it's kind of nice.
Steve's about to develop that.
He needs to start chucking threes. I would love it.
Even when Robertson's here, 3/5 of your starting lineup aren't 3-point shooters, and you're still getting up 30 a game.
It's maybe not the best idea.
I mean, you're shooting a lot of them. It's clearly a philosophy thing, I think, with Billy bringing in an analytical thing that this team's kind of started to go with a little bit. I don't know if it's good for Russ or bad for Russ. I think it's an adjustment for Russ. He loves big guys. He loves getting them going. I don't think he's reached his fullest potential as far as setting up 3-point shooters yet, though.
No. And
which is crazy to say.
Well, but also to your point, like that's not what they've been doing. Mm-hmm. That's a new development that he's having to try and to work out.
Kind of just get him a few more Corey Brewers on the court.
Yeah,
there you
perfect.
Go. He can find them.
Just clone that guy.
You guys want to do some questions?
Let's do it.
Tweet.
Oh, hey, by the way, Jeremy Grant is 10th in the league in total charges taken.
Nice.
Very nice.
I like that.
I'm like so swell.
Also,
I'm
like
looking up all these damn stats.
It's okay.
Stat Central over there. I'm a fan of it.
Better late than never.
Right. Okay, so from Ben Greer 26 at the number, can we please keep Corey Brewer after this year? He's like Terrence Ferguson. He was actually good.
Have you guys talked about this? Like maybe keeping him.
We talked on the last pod about how, even coming off the bench next season with Robertson would be so important because, I mean, you kind of have a guy that those kind of do the same thing, and so you can just have the consistency, but also like I said earlier, just the fact that he's so low maintenance, you can just throw him in, get some energy really quick if you need it. And
Super
then,
cheap, too.
Yeah, and he doesn't
Definitely.
require much. So
It'd be cool if he wanted to stay, you know?
I think.
I mean, it goes back
seems
to
to be
the
having fun.
if you can get Paul George to stay. I mean, this team's going to be looking to those veterans to bring in on minimums either. Anyways, and I know it's a small sample size, but it seems like it's a pretty good fit.
Yep.
All right, 3 from Ben Burke at Ben Burke 10, and then now there's a wait. No, never mind. Sorry, there's a thing on there that confused me. Is Paul George broken?
Seems to
Only
be a little bit.
only slightly.
Although I will say, like, the looks still seem to be the same. They're just not going in.
Yeah.
You'd
Just slightly
expect that to
malfunctioned.
change.
It's so weird how he's an under the rim player, and you know it's so strange to me. Like the way he plays and sloth like, and
It's very strange.
yeah, I wonder if he'll pick that up at all. If we'll see a big monster Paul George dunk in the playoffs, or he's just,
Where's that 360 at, man? Haven't seen that in a while.
I hope he gets it going, man, because when he's hitting threes, this team's really hard to beat. Especially if Melo shoots how he's shooting now.
Oh, sorry. Is Russ a deity?
Yes.
To Oklahoma City is. Oklahoma.
That's damn for
Oklahoma
sure.
City,
He is
Oklahoma.
Both.
Okay.
And you know Tulsa, Lawton, Altus, Taylor,
Yeah. Duncan.
Cash,
I don't.
Brian Davis over
Smithville.
here.
Beaver.
Mustang.
Guyman, Gate, Turpin.
Turpin.
That's
Okay,
no
so
way
final
real.
one: best sandwich joint in Oklahoma City.
Sandwiches? What?
You know where I really like, but I don't eat it very often, but they're not like healthy sandwiches at all, but they're so good. It's Capriotti's. I don't know if anyone's ever had
Never
them.
heard of it.
They're
Never
pretty
heard of
new
I've
here.
probably been there with you though, but
No,
I've never
I
heard
haven't.
of it.
They're really, really good sandwiches, though. I think they're up on Memorial and Western or Penn. One of the two.
I don't really know about sandwich places unless they're burgers. So
That's a sandwich. What's your favorite burgers place? Burgers place.
Burgers place. Nick's.
Nick's.
Yeah, it's so good.
What's the?
That's like a fork and knife burger, though. Texadelphia. That's I thought you were going
That's
to say
pretty good.
Texas Roadhouse.
Texadelphia is pretty good.
His sandwich place is Applebee's.
That's the
clearly.
only. The only time I've gone there is with Jason. I've just assumed that's the only place you eat.
Oh no.
Oh, all right.
Okay, got to throw out 2. First one: Mutt's hot dogs. Great sandwich place.
Yeah.
I see what he did.
No, so there's a new deli that just opened up on 23rd.
Is it good?
It's called Scotty's Deli.
I've heard it's real good.
really good.
Sounds
yeah,
good.
It's awesome. You guys should try it.
Hell yeah, that
I'll
sounds
go
good.
there.
Jersey Mike's, right?
Jersey Mike's
Love
is
that
solid.
place.
Jersey Mike's good. But that's more of like a
It's
Chain.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
It's from Jersey, I think.
best sandwich joint in OKC. Subway.
Jimmy John's.
From Zach Weber 33 as the Avalanche 33. With his performance last night, how much money did Jeremy Grant earn himself? Also, could he become too expensive for us to re-sign?
That's something
That is
we
possible.
Yeah, that's something we didn't discuss. It's hard to say. I mean, it's one game, and he's had flashes where you're like, damn, he looks like someone might be willing to throw him $10 million.
But then also he's had flashes where it's like, ooh.
Yeah, but would someone be willing to give a guy that doesn't really shoot the ball well $10 million?
I mean,
Yeah.
the potential there for everything else, like what we've seen, like the progression of Jeremy Grant has been really.
How old is Jeremy Grant? It was his birthday yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's find this out.
Pat's birthday
24.
was today.
He's 24 years old.
I think you went and watched a movie.
And mine is tomorrow.
I bet he did.
So
24
don't
years
throw
old.
yours
we're
in
all in there together, you know?
Wait, so do we just have 3 Thunder birthdays in a week?
Uh,
With
think
Corey
so.
Brewer and now Grant
so.
and Patterson? Nice.
Yep.
At what dollar amount do the Thunder refuse to give him?
That's so tough.
Got to predict it right now.
Without
you just have to.
without
So,
looking at what our, because I can't think of like how our salary stuff is
It's
structured
way
right
up
now.
there.
I know it is.
it's very lots of money.
But because I can't think of what, like, I would go with like 4.5 maybe.
Well, he's gone.
I think I think
Yeah,
that's too
well,
low.
I think I'd
I'm
say
hoping
7.
the market is really.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So if I
7
had
to
set
8.
the number, I was gonna say 7.5 and make you go over or under. I think
I
he
went under
will
then, I
get
guess.
over.
You think he's
Shit.
going to?
I think he
Really?
will get over.
Ain't nobody got money next year, though.
I don't think so.
I
I think it's gonna
nobody
be
got
right
one.
around 7 is what he might get.
I
Tops.
don't know. I hope so. It'd be nice to keep it down.
Yeah, I think
I think
he's
he
a,
comes back for the veteran minimum.
I think he's a Thunder player next year.
I sure as hell hope so.
Interesting.
I think so as well.
From T at Drinking Tea, do you think Billy D is keeping some stuff secret for the playoffs? Mainly lineups we want but haven't seen much of? Like how in the 2016 playoffs, he destroyed the Spurs with the Twin Tower lineup and the small ball lineup with Surge, which had the Warriors shook.
It did have him shook.
It's crazy to
I
think
hope-
there might be a lineup out there we haven't seen.
That'd be
The
impressive
one I
as hell.
gave you guys
But
earlier.
we've seen it early on.
Yeah, for 3 possessions. Swear to God.
That's all he needed.
He's
He
like-
knew. He's like,
He's
no.
like, I'm going to save that.
Yeah,
Bye.
that's one.
Right in the pocket.
I don't know. Like, I have trouble giving Billy that much credit.
No way.
You know,
There's no way.
I think it's. I don't know. I mean, the West is so good. Like, how could you? That's the thing. Is it seems like everyone's talks about how the Thunder have built themselves to play the Rockets and the Warriors, which they have to a certain extent. But the West is so good right now. It's a lot more than just the Rockets and the Warriors in the playoffs. You know, you're gonna have to fight
Agreed.
every round.
From Gilbel Syriac, why does Billy love Ferguson so much, knowing that he hurts our team while he's on the floor?
We have a couple questions like this.
Yeah,
We do.
several.
So thanks for all the Ferguson questions, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's got to be the development thing. Are you guys okay? Why is everyone freaking
Just
out?
ears.
Ears aren't
They're
working.
being weird. They're fine.
It's the cord. It's just, but sorry, I couldn't hear, so like everything's really thrown off for me. I'm very disoriented.
Can you
right
hear now?
Yeah, I've got to hold
Okay.
the cord weird.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's annoying. So, anyways, just the other two on there at Thunder fans at God is Spanish. You guys thoughts on why Donovan plays so many minutes to Ferguson, even though he?
they're all the same.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
all the same. I mean,
I'll just end.
do you think that do you think it's gonna stop, or do you? What should we expect? I mean, obviously you never know what to expect with Donovan, but
No, I think Ferguson will continue to get minutes, just not as many.
Yeah.
Like he's still
slowly,
going
just
to
slowly weed them out. with the
probably so, but
rotation.
never
fully.
Never fully, yeah.
Like every playoff game, it's like, get out there for a minute.
Do you think the reason
go
he plays
jump.
him right now is strictly developing him, or is it like sending a message to guys like,
I think
he
it's-
plays hard, do that?
I think it's the energy, and
Yeah.
he thinks that maybe there can be.
He does have that
spark
going
there.
for him. He does.
True.
From Ativ at Diamond Ativ 281, Golden State has the luckiest franchise for 4 years. First ring, OKC not in playoffs. All point guards hurt. Next year, huge cap increase when KD was a free agent. Last year, Nurkic, Gobert, and Kawhi out. With Curry's ankle and Clay's fracture, is it safe to say their luck is running out?
I'm not
That'd be
willing to go
Cool,
there
but
yet.
no.
Well, it
not
has to
yet.
happen in the playoffs. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one
And
of
they
the-
could even the first round they're gonna win without, well, most likely. I mean, without those guys. As long
Not
as
if
those guys,
KD's leading the team. Shit the bed. That's what
so
he does.
if it happens in the playoffs, I'll agree to that. But
Yeah.
still, it seems like those guys are gonna come back.
Did you guys see their goofy ass dancing the other day during Steph's birthday party?
I
That
did.
was.
Yeah, it was bad.
It's only
It made
one
me
week,
realize-
though, right? It's only 1 week that they're gonna be until they're reevaluated. So I didn't mean.
Well,
to
Oh,
cut
Clay
you off.
Clay
That doesn't
Thompson
matter.
is out for a little while too.
I think
Yeah.
it was March 22nd is what
March
I saw that
22nd.
he's gonna
Yeah,
be
reevaluated.
reevaluated. Yeah.
Fractured thumb though. Is it his shooting hand?
I don't know. I didn't
so.
look that.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I hope so too. Hope it's both hands.
He's got no thumbs.
Two
How's
fractured
he
thumbs.
picking stuff up?
No, the thing is if they're healthy going into the playoffs, the Rockets can have a 5-game lead on them, and I'll still be picking the Warriors.
The other hand is a thumb.
Oh, that's true.
What if it's you guys? What do you guys have to say to that point?
I was talking about his.
Yeah,
thumbs.
I would agree. If it's the Rockets.
You caught him, Brandon. It's just, it gets so hard to pick against him, and it sucks. It makes me mad.
It is upsetting.
From Carter Bradford at C to the Bradford, do you think these injuries to key players in the past few games might be the best thing for the bench to grow leading into the playoffs?
Maybe it's the bench seems like they're gelling a little bit more lately, but
I mean, it can't hurt the bench.
yeah,
What does I don't know that it really helps that much though. Like
Yeah.
whenever you look at somebody then having to start, especially like lose. I think if as long as it's just like Robertson out, like everybody else is healthy, that's one thing. But like if Adams is missing games and you're putting Grant in, how much is that really helping to take one of the best players off of the bench? Now he's not getting those minutes with the bench. I don't know.
The thing that sucks is that the West race is so tight.
yeah.
Like it'd be if you had a 3-game lead, it'd kind of be nice.
That'd be
if
so
you're-
nice.
If you're like in the 3rd seed, you have a 3-game lead. You're like, man, these guys could use the rest. Steven Adams needs this rest.
Basically how it's been every other year
Right.
except for this one.
Yeah.
I almost got you.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. From Kevin Aitken at K8Kin22, going through our current 15 roster spots, who are likely or unlikely to be in a Thunder jersey next year. Also, just assuming that PG is guaranteed to re-sign.
Well, we know the for sure is Russ Adams.
Yep.
Right? Robertson.
Mello.
He threw
Probably Melo.
He threw PG in
And
there.
PG.
And
So
PG
starting
some.
lineup's good. So then we
Yep.
need to go through the bench. Point guard, Raymond Felton. I would lean towards he's probably gone.
Yeah. Maybe retiring.
Sad.
I
won't.
doubt
You're gonna
it.
stick
That's
around?
sad if he's not going to come back. I've really.
I mean,
I
he
do
might,
like
I would just lean that he goes.
I agree that he
It does
probably
feel like
will.
that position turns over every year. So
Abrinas is under contract, so he'll be back. You would think,
Unless he
unless they
gets
trade him
traded.
at draft day or something. Ferguson should be back.
yeah,
Hustis, I probably say he's gone.
He's gone.
yeah.
I don't know how much. The thing is I don't know how much money he might just be like, I'd rather just stay here for if I'm not getting get the same money
Yeah.
anywhere else.
And I mean, I could see them keeping him around for super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Then who's Patterson? He
Ooh.
should be. He's under
supposed
contract.
to be here.
Under contract, so he should be here.
So
I mean-
Grant is
That's the big one.
staying or going?
You said
he's-
staying earlier.
Yeah, you're
I'm
on
I
record
agree.
saying He's gone. I don't think he's coming back.
Same team, run it back next year.
I like it.
That'd be
A
great.
worse Carmelo. Yeah, see what happens.
He'll be more comfortable in his role.
Yeah.
From Austin Hardman at OU Freak 93, do you believe the Thunder can seriously make a run in the playoffs if they make it?
God, that's sad. That
What's a serious
caveat
run?
has to
Like
be
get
in
to the Western Conference Finals? That's a
Yep,
serious run?
That's serious.
Man, it's getting hard and harder and harder like as the year goes on to believe that they can. I mean, if I have to say, I'd say no. I don't think they're going to. I think they're
Yeah.
a second round exit.
Would you rather? So would you rather be the 7 or 8 seed or be in the lottery?
7 or 8 seed.
Yeah.
You'd rather make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, the Thunder don't have their draft pick. Oh, they would though if they made the lottery. That's right.
So that's tough though. I don't know.
I'd rather just see. I'd rather
Yeah.
at least find out. You know what
It'd
I
be
mean?
so depressing to see this end in a not a playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if you're playing the Warriors or the Rockets,
we beat their
Yeah,
ass.
but what if Klay Thompson's broken thumbs?
Both of them.
yeah? What if they're gone?
so we get beat by no Klay Thompson Warriors.
No, you shut up. We're up 2-1, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, we could also go back to why did the Grizzlies get to the Western Conference Finals? Because Patrick Beverley harpooned Russ in the knee with his body.
That's true.
If that doesn't happen, then Memphis never even gets there. Period.
So we
Weird
could have
stuff
some
can happen.
luck,
You might
maybe
as well be
someday.
in it and see what happens.
Smart man.
I like it.
From Dakota Baker at Bearded Thunder 1, why do some media outlets hate on Westbrook so much for triple doubles, but glorify it each time Harden or LeBron does it?
I think it's because Russ is easy to hate.
Yeah.
They're
Well, it's
upset that he's so
also
good at them.
more rare for those guys, I
Yeah.
would say, and so you
82 and 18.
82 and 18.
But at this point, it's almost expected that he gets one. So I think people are like, "Oh, whatever, he got another
Yeah.
one."
Well, I think people are really annoyed he won the MVP last year. People
Yeah.
think the only reason he won is because of the triple doubles, and that's just
Well, anybody can get a triple double. It's not a big deal. So
yeah, it's not.
he
it's
shouldn't
arbitrary.
be. Yeah, he shouldn't win the MVP.
I
for
roll
that.
out of bed and get a triple double every day, man. It's nothing big.
My mind went somewhere weird. All right.
And from Michael Cage Headphone Scan at the Brody 2020, is Brewer the new Caron Butler? Hot during the regular season and goes cold in the playoffs.
Oh God, please no.
I hope not.
Probably though.
It's a fair comparison.
Yeah, it is.
It's weird though. I think does Brewer have a bigger role on this team than Caron
Yeah.
Butler did?
Definitely.
Yeah.
He just
mean-
had to shoot.
Yeah, but he still played like probably similar minutes to what Brewer.
Similar minutes, but not the role that you're.
Yeah,
kind
he was
of
more a
wanting
spot
him
up guy.
Yeah.
Because you got KD and Russ out there, but and Paul George doesn't. I guess he just has a
Yeah.
big.
Whoa.
Well, he just hasn't
Whoa,
been.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
He hasn't been as good as he needs to be. I'm just gonna say that.
Probably
He-
will be when the playoffs start.
Yeah,
though.
of course.
Turn it right on.
Yeah.
You trust him? 1 to 10. 1 to 10.
No.
1 to 10.
Not
And
unless he turns. I have to see it again before I'll say yeah.
Sitting at a 5.
Rob, by the end of the playoffs, Rob's gonna be happy he's gone.
Oh God.
Just
no,
kidding,
I
Rob.
wouldn't.
Hot.
I think he's gonna turn it on. He's due, man. Isn't that how it works? You're due, and he's just gonna light it up here pretty
Yeah.
soon.
I mean, he is way too good to struggle as much as he has been.
Agreed.
Agreed. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter at OKC Thunderheads. Justin's over at Thunder Tie. Subscribe on YouTube. All the pods right there, live or not live, however you want to watch them. I like watching stuff live though. We're on Spotify, iTunes. Subscribe on that. Rate and review if you'd be so kind. Hey, we got a March Madness bracket challenge.
Ooh.
Yeah, go get in it.
Starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow, so go right now.
Right
Fill-
this damn second.
Join our group. Scroll through our Twitter. You can find the link. Join our group. If you win, you'll win a Thunder jersey of your choice. Not one of those authentic ones. Too expensive. But one of the non-authentic ones.
You know,
not like
a rip-off from
yeah,
China.
not that.
China.
Not one of those. But like one of the $110 ones or whatever.
Swingmans or whatever they're
Or
called.
$60 ones, or we'll get you a ladies.
You get a kid's jersey.
Yeah, get one.
$20 kids jersey.
No, but what I mean by your choice: statement, white one, blue one, the gray one, whatever you
Don't
want.
get that one though, because it's ugly.
Russ, PG, Adams, Mello, whatever you want. We'll get
Kyle
it for
Singler?
you if you win. Kyle Singler.
And
if you win.
If you're large or above, you can get a Thunderhead
Hey,
shirt too.
really quick, did you pick this week's games?
Ooh, he
We
did.
never got your prediction.
No, you guys never asked me. So
We
I
asked you-
told him to ask.
good to go.
We asked him during the pod and he didn't answer.
No, but I did say that I can just be honest with you and say what I would have said.
What was it?
3-1.
Liar.
You went 0-4. We know it.
Yeah. No, but so I'll say, well, how are we gonna do this? Are you
No,
guys
that's
gonna-
fine.
No,
we'll
that
take your
works.
word for it.
Three
We're on the
works.
honor system.
Because they went that too, and I
Or
went
you
2
lose
and 2.
every game this week.
It's
So
really nice
up
of you
to
guys, because if one of you had done that, I'd have been like, well, no, that's not how it works. You lose.
You're very competitive.
So I appreciate you guys. All right, guys. So we have a aftershock maybe on Friday, maybe not. Sunday, full pod right after the Toronto game. So we'll catch you guys then. Till then, and as always, thunder up.
Oh,
Wave to the camera.
I raised the roof.
I already.